Yo, what's up, y'all? We out here. Buff Missionary back in these streets yet again. Like, subscribe, and share. You know how we roll. Out here trying to provoke some thought. Thinking about life on a practical, applicable level, and not just theoretical stuff that doesn't make sense that nobody really cares about. But anyways, I wanted to talk in this video about the Compass meeting, the returned missionary group that we have on campus at Andrews University for missionaries who have gone out, served, and come back, not just from the previous year, but from any year. And, you know, like I've said before, it's a pretty cool space that we have for people to kind of be in. A lot of missionaries come back and don't really find community or people who want to hear their stories. And just having a space for them is really beneficial and useful. And as you can tell, we out here green on green today. Green, we take sips. Oh, this is sparkling water. Don't worry about that. But the meeting this past Thursday was a really cool one for a number of different reasons. One, it's the first one that's been a little bit more structured in the sense of we have a question that we want to talk about and we'll pass it around to everyone, as opposed to just being kind of a presenting thing that can get boring or stale really quick. And the question was, why did you decide to serve? And one of the really cool things about this, I had a good friend, she was a missionary in Palau my last 2 years, and she ended up staying in Palau another 2 years or 3 years. She got more mission years than me at this point. But Hannah, my homie, she's actually from Michigan. She came through for the first time. She's been back from Pohnpei. She was out there last semester. But the cool thing was we had about half of the missionaries who came to the meeting had gone to Palau, and another couple that had showed up they had served in Pohnpei. So Hannah was kind of the bridge in between the middle, and it was just really cool to hear the conversations about how she knew these students here and those students over there, and even the dynamics of students who had gone back and forth between Palau and Pohnpei and being able to know them both. It was a really cool thing. I honestly sat and didn't really say much for the whole time, just listening and enjoying the conversation, the vibe. But eventually there came a point where somebody asked about kind of why I decided to go. And I'll share a little bit about that with you here. Growing up as a young Christian, I really didn't have much interest in the church. And I think most of that was because, in retrospect, they say hindsight is 20/20, right? But looking back, I think probably the biggest issue that I had was that it wasn't practical and it wasn't applicable. We talked about these laws and these rules and this whole checklist of all the stuff we needed to do to be a Christian, but at the end of the day, it didn't really translate beyond the Christian bubble. I wasn't made aware, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention. I'm not gonna put that all on like parents and church and all that. But I didn't find that I knew things that I could use in the real world, so to speak. I didn't know how to make this stuff about the love of God practical to somebody else, especially because some of the things that we did as a church just seemed opposite to the message that we were talking about. You might have heard me say before that good news isn't good news unless it's good news for everyone. But I didn't feel like the good news, the gospel that we had, was good news for everyone, because a lot of times it came across as, well, it's good news for us because we're going to heaven, but it's bad news for everyone else because y'all are going to hell. And that doesn't really seem like good news all around, right? I had a problem with that. So through my later years of high school, my interest in spiritual things is going really down. I had no intention of going to college, but I did to escape home because I wanted to get out of the spiritual bubble that was there. My parents would only let me go to an Adventist university, but I said I'll take it because it wasn't home. I ended up at Southern Adventist University, where for the first few years, I still really didn't display much interest in spiritual things. There were a couple things that happened there. I'll talk about that in a later video, but I'm ultimately trying to get back to Thursday night. But you get down to my senior year of college, I have an interview in the business world and ultimately make the decision that I'm not going that direction. But this happened a month before graduation, and I have no plans, and essentially I'm like, okay, let's go. But really, when I look at my reasons for going to be a missionary, a lot of it was, one, because I didn't have a plan. Two, because I was looking for an adventure. I just wanted to have some fun. Three, I guess just trying to buy it sometime. I can't even say because I was looking forward. I I would say that college at that point for me was something to finish, especially after finishing with the accounting degree that I still haven't really used to this day. Excuse me. I think that it was something to check off to say, all right, cool, I've done that. I didn't really know how the college experience was going to benefit me later on down the line. And so I was just kind of out there. I don't even know if I can say that at the time I was searching for the next thing. It was just kind of like, this is my life right now, and I'll just be wherever and do whatever and kind of just go with the flow. Thankfully, ultimately later, after my second time around in Palau, I did find a little bit more purpose, and that's why I'm in Michigan right now, struggling. But that first time, it was definitely just to be there and just to have a good time and roll with it. And I do think that's interesting because a lot of people will go into service and mission things for a lot of different reasons. When I was there the last 4 years in Palau, 2015 to 2019, I did see a lot of people come through for a lot of different reasons. Some of them were very open with those reasons. Some of them might not have been as open. You don't like to assume, but from the things that they did and the way that they interacted with people, it was clear that sometimes they weren't there for the people that they were there to serve, which makes for a very interesting dynamic. But all of that to say, I think it's really cool that no matter why you end up deciding to serve, once you put yourself in that mission mentality and in that space, I think that God can do many things if you're open to the experience. And for all of my flaws and for all of the really not great reasons that I had to go there, I think that I was open to the experience. And that's how I found a love in Palau, a love for Palau, that brought me back to Palau later, that resulted in me pursuing a degree in school that's actually going to have an impact on the rest of my life, which I think is a good thing. So the funny thing is, I think I ended up sharing that about why I went, and I don't know if anybody else answered the question. So maybe we didn't accomplish what we were trying to Thursday night, but there were definitely a lot of stories being told, a lot of good experiences being shared about students that multiple people knew from different islands. And I think we were there, it must have been till 11 again before I was like, man, I'm getting tired, I gotta bounce. But it was a good vibe, another great meeting and opportunity. And you never know, we had an actual meeting about this meeting, about the compass, a couple weeks back, and kind of like, how's it going? What are we trying to do with it? And it is interesting because people get busy, people don't always have time to show up. But if there's anything that I want to commit to, being of the mission mentality and growing in that mentality, I want to be there and continue showing up for that space so that whenever people do want to come through, that they can be there and it's available for them. Because for missionaries, for return missionaries especially, they don't always have that outlet. So that is, I would consider part of my mission being here in Michigan, is to help facilitate that space and just do what I can to be there for them. But yeah, it was cool. Another great meeting, good vibes, good times. And hearing those stories just gives me the energy to keep dealing with Michigan, even though it's 31 degrees now. It's 20 something earlier this morning. Like I said, struggling. But it's been good. I can't lie, it's been good. And in fact, speaking on missions, next week, I should be working on getting my ticket to go back out to the islands. Pohnpei, I will be visiting, and Palau, I'll be visiting. So I'm super hyped for that. Man, can't wait to lock that down. Hopefully I can get out there for like 3 weeks and just disappear for a while. We'll see. But hey, you got to make it count because it ain't cheap to get out there, you know what I'm saying? But it's going to happen. Got to go see my people, And yeah, looking forward to it. Anyways, I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe. Let me know what you think down below. All right. Peace.